For Yuma City Council, Egeberg. He's going to talk about why he put his name into the hat and why he should be elected as Yuma City Council. After that, it's Loula Stefanakos. She is the owner of Wheezy's. We're going to talk about all the fun stuff we've done over there. And to close things out for the final show, we will be joined by our very own Dave Reik. So stay with us for What's Up Yuma Radio, beginning right now on KOFA 94.7 FM.
And streaming online at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. You can also view our show on the Border Radio Facebook page and the KAWC YouTube page. And don't forget, you can reach out to us by email at whatsupyumaradio@gmail.com.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by Citrine Law, LLC, a Yuma law firm practicing criminal defense, DUI defense, and personal injury law. Information is at citrinelaw.com.
Chili from Philly. Nick Papagiorgio from Yianoula.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to another episode of What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Johnny Porter.
And I'm Victor Calderon. And Johnny, it's good to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Obviously, today's the final show broadcasting from here at Border Radio.
KOFA Border Radio?
Yeah, in the studio. But it's been a good time, and we'll kind of wrap things up at the end.
Yes, we'll have some kind words in our last segment. So as they say in media, stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Absolutely. So real quick, Mexico plays tonight. I know. Are you going to watch that?
Yes. So again, that's good for local, bar owners and restaurants that are showing the games. We mentioned our friends yesterday from Costa Baja.
Yeah.
Take your pick. But two big games. Mexico tonight. USA tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So it's a good time to go to a sports bar, support your local business.
Yeah, support them and your team. And it's one and done. Like if you're out, if you lose, you're out, right?
Right. Yeah. So yesterday were some good results. Paraguay beat Germany. And so Germany is usually good. And then what were the other games? Brazil won in like the last minute against Japan.
Whoa, okay.
And then Netherlands lost to Morocco.
All right. So there may be
some upsets.
Sounds like upsets. Yeah. I know Maiko, she was going for Japan. She's half Japanese. She's born over there. But she's going to be upset today, so my heart goes out to her. But who do we have today, Victor?
We have Egeberg. He is a writing candidate for Yuma City Council. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate it.
Good morning. And like we like to do on the show, we like to get to know our guests before we figure out why they're crazy enough to run for city council, right? We're going to get to that. But you said off air you were born in Flagstaff, I guess.
Born in Flagstaff, raised in Scottsdale until I was 9, and family moved here when I was 9. So this is truly home. This is what, 43 years? Mm-hmm. So 44 years. This is the only place that I really have memories of is Yuma.
Yeah. Okay. So, your memories of Yuma, and 9 years old, were you into numbers? Was it like something like you always wanted to do? You were going to like looking at homes and be like, I want to help people get those.
No, at 9 years old, I wanted to be a train engineer. I wanted to run up and down the country all over the place, pulling the handle, honking the horn. So had no concept of mortgages at 9.
Yeah, none, of course, right? But then what about in high school? What was it like in high school?
Believe it or not, I in high school, I did a lot of drama, theater productions, tennis, baseball, those types of things. So I was both on sports and in theatrics.
So you were a jock, and then you were the ones that the jocks maybe would have picked on.
Picked on and made fun.
Wow.
Had a ton of fun in Snyder Auditorium. Was actually my senior year and freshman, sophomore of college was on KAWC out here with Bob Hardy.
Oh, Uncle Bob, yeah.
Uncle Bob, because he would pound into you. You can't say it as KAWC. It's got to be KAWC and enunciate. So a lot of stuff like that. Great memories.
So you said theater and production. I had no idea. Now, like, tell me a little bit about that. You like to act, or is more the production side of things?
Started on the acting side, did 4 or 5 of the shows, but then most of it became production. So the lighting, the technical, the theater productions. Over the years, probably did 100, 150 shows with theater and lighting, especially when outside groups would come in. Had great fun doing Ricky Skaggs, the Side Street Strutters. Actually almost went on tour with Ricky Skaggs one time.
Oh, wow.
In their crew, but they called me up like 2 weeks before we were supposed to go and go, Derek, we got some bad news. We bought a theater in Branson, Missouri, so we don't need a road crew anymore. I'm like, oh gosh,
dang, there was your shot.
that was it. So.
Yeah. So in high school, then what'd you want to do career wise? What was the I'm going to go college, university? What was it that you wanted to do?
I started thinking I was going to go into psychology, and then I realized there's just too many problems.
Okay, that's interesting. There is a lot of problems, but tell me a little bit about the psychology, though. Why?
So again, everybody used to come to me, and it's funny when you say it, but everybody used to come to me and give me their problems and talk about it. And the more I listened, I couldn't stomach some of it. But now in retrospect, most of them were money problems. It was, I don't know how to do this. I can't figure this out. So didn't go for psychology, went for business, got my business degree, and then was working restaurants all the way from high school at age 15 on up. I mean, did field work at age 14, the old spraying fields and throwing watermelons here in Yuma.
Oh, wow.
But at age 15, then 3/4, got on with Peter Piper Pizza and was there for 17 years.
15 years old,
15
right?
and 3/4.
15 and 3/4.
With the law.
Okay. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Nobody's going to come after Peter Piper for breaking any laws, but you clarified. So you're of age to work. Why did you get a job so early?
I wanted a car.
Wanted a car.
And again, because I was doing so many things in the theater, you were at Snyder Auditorium sometimes till 1 in the evening and needed to be that kid who had a car. So, my dad helped me get a 1981 Honda Civic wagon. It was the 4-door wagon. It was one of the most it's your first car.
It's your first car. So nothing stylish that you're pulling up for the ladies, and the ladies are like, "Whoa, look at Derek!"
No. That was the only good thing is you could cram like 9 people in it and get to lunch somewhere when the campuses were open.
So people then you made friends though. Yeah. Friends were there. It could open campus. You could go over there to Mr. G's or hop in.
We could get all the way across town to Peter Piper.
Yeah, you could go out of to Peter Piper. So it was because you had a need. Mm-hmm. There was a need there saying, I want to get this. Now, after, at Peter Piper, you said off air that you worked all the way from the bottom to the top. So tell me about that journey.
Again, 17 years, you just kind of got to the point that I can do this, get out of the way, and I would just take on the next responsibility. And ultimately, the owner and his wife stepped out, and I just started running it by age 18 and went to college. And I was unfortunately on the 10-year plan. It took me a long time to get through college because every time as the general manager, you let somebody go, then you got to cover their shifts. So it took me a little longer to get through things that I wanted, but was running it, trying to buy the restaurant. He wanted X.
So 18 though. 18. Okay, let's go back to that. 18. You're going to school. Mm-hmm. You're saying get out of the way. They finally get out of the way. You're doing this, and how do you stay focused with all of that?
I wanted to be the number one store in the company.
Gotcha.
So we took it from $500,000 a year in sales to in excess of $2 million a year in sales. And you think, back then on a $9 pizza. Mm-hmm. That's
pretty good.
Something.
You're moving some pizzas.
So, there were days that we were doing 1.5 tons of dough a day.
Yeah. I wanted to say 17 years. That's a lot of pizza.
Yeah. Trust me, I've done the numbers before.
Yeah.
So 17 years. And then, when I got into mortgages, a really good friend of mine said, long story short, I did what everybody does. I went to my local checking savings bank, tried to get pre-qualified. 90 days later, nobody can tell me what's going on. Couldn't find a loan officer.
Is this when you're trying to buy it?
When I was buying my house.
Your house, okay.
So I was managing the restaurant, going to school, trying to buy a house. 3 months later, couldn't get anybody to answer questions. And a good friend of mine, I thought he was a loan shark. I didn't really know what he did. And I'm like, look, I need some help. And about 10 days later, he had my FHA loan closed. Cool. Year and a half, I went back to him. I'm like, hey, I want to refinance it. I want to do it to a 15-year loan. I'm going to save all this money. And he goes, why aren't you doing this? Because you actually are asking better questions than I know to ask. Why aren't you doing mortgages? I'm like, I don't know.
And you're still at Peter Piper.
Yeah. Nobody's ever asked me. So he goes, come in tomorrow, sit behind me on a green milk crate, and just learn the business. And so for 4.5 years, I was doing Peter Piper for 55 hours a week, and mortgages for 40. I was doing 95 hours a week for 4.5 years straight.
Wow. So,
And I still have the waffle pattern on my butt from the green milk crate.
yeah. So, okay, like you're doing this. How do you find time to be social, or that just kind of you throw it out the door and like, you know what, I'm dedicated?
A lot of it was out the door. A lot of it was we were blessed that's when we had our kids. So my 2 jobs became the income to offset her loss of income because we went back to back to back, 3 kids. So she didn't work for 5 years. And so that very much became a process to make me who I am now.
Yeah. So then, okay. So you're doing all of this, and then at some point you approach them and say, "I want to buy this location." And you're talking about the one on Pacific over there, because I think that's the only one here.
So it was a franchise, and the owner, Bob and Diane Ulm, had owned it forever. That's who I worked for the entire time. And he wanted X. The appraisal was worth Y, and we just couldn't come to a agreement of the space in between. And that was kind of the decision to stop working 95 hours a week and solely commit myself to mortgages, which I've now done for 25 years.
Now, did it upset you that he didn't find that place to be able to do that? Was that something that you look back on and you're kind of still, some feelings around? Or was it, I'm glad that happened because it prompted me to go in this direction?
I think everything happens for the right reasons. And there was a point at which I would have needed to take my income from mortgage to offset that business as COVID happened and things went downhill and you couldn't have people going out, because clearly Peter Piper is a destination place. It's not a delivery place. So I really believe that was a blessing, because had I gotten it, there would have been some other financial issues. He sold it back to corporate Peter Piper. So the franchise is no longer, it's now a corporate store. And like I say, I think all things happen for a reason.
So then when did you start, and what was the first mortgage place? Your first business?
So again,
Academy?
No. I was with Nova a long time ago.
You were at Nova.
And that's, was there for a while, then moved to another place, then came over to Academy. And really where I learned to be a great loan officer was Academy Mortgage. That was a 14-year run before they sold out nationwide. And again, Academy, and I love Adam and his family. They were great to me, and became one of the top 100 in the country, was 40 under 40, one of the 40 most influential people under 40 when I was there across the country with mortgages, top 1% again nationally. So really got to know people nationwide because of Academy Mortgage and what we've done.
And then now you're, what's the Mortgage One? Is that your own thing, or is that another branch?
It is another branch of a much smaller company. It feels a lot like Academy Mortgage did way back in the day. Okay. I report directly to an owner, not 7 layers of management. And it's a very family-friendly, let's help people locally in underserved communities.
Okay, so you have this. Then when do you find time, or what was the precipice of saying, you know what, I'm going to run for city council? I love how they're treated here, so I want to be treated like that.
It was, and I've thought about politics for 6 or 7 years, but what really happened is I was like, man, I wish somebody would do something about that. And then I realized I am somebody. Why am I expecting somebody else to do something that I'm not doing? So give me the ball. Let me run it. Let me throw it. I'll take on that responsibility, because if I'm willing to complain, let me be the one who's going to fix it, not just expect Victor to go, you go do something, and I'll just sit back and armchair quarterback it.
What now, are those issues, some of the stuff that you saw, is it like relevant to the mortgage world, the housing world, or is it just like, this is my community?
It's the community.
Okay. So tell me a little bit, get a little bit deeper in that.
It is, and like we talked about off air, I'm passionate for things, but I'm very non-emotional. I'm probably one of the least empathetic people you're going to meet, which most of the time is probably not a good thing. Well, and then my wife would say it's not a good thing.
Well, and then that's something like typically somebody wouldn't admit, right? They would, it's like, I'm not empathetic, but
I have to be, because my job is to be pragmatic about decisions of putting a square peg in a round hole. And I think that's what we need more of in city council is, look, I'm very passionate for this city. I hope you can hear that. But when it comes to the decision, it's not an emotional decision. It's 1 + 1 + 1 has to equal 3. And if it equals 2 or 4, something's wrong. Let's figure out what this is. And I don't care what the issue is. There's a path and a number that's going to get me there.
Okay, so then what were some of the issues maybe that you kind of saw? Not that somebody was doing something wrong, because I don't like to play the blame game here, but maybe something that you could lend your expertise to, or maybe something that you could maybe shift in a better direction.
Mostly it's budgeting and planning. And again, I think we've done some amazing things in the community, but the emotions that surround certain decisions are what we need to take out of it. If you look at police and fire, if I said, is there a need for another fire station? Yeah, we're already one short.
Yeah.
If I say, is there a need for a police station out in the foothills? The time of service from the city of Yuma proper out there is not good. If you remember when College Park was first built, the fire station in College Park, these homes right here, was a home that they took out a big fence and they parked the fire truck in the backyard because there was not a fire station out here. Now, what most people don't realize is the police and fire department have done amazing things for you and I as homeowners, because they now have the rating that is going to allow potentially our homeowners insurance to go down because of their work. But if we don't stay ahead with police and fire response times, we lose it. So those decisions, when you hear people arguing about capital improvement products and projects and stuff like that, we have to be very careful that we're investing money in the right way for the right reasons that sometimes maybe are less visible than some of the emotional products that people are putting out there that need to be done.
Yeah, but people typically, and this, they make decisions on emotion. And you're saying like, I'm a facts and figures guy. So how do you run a campaign like that?
It is literally saying, look, I'm very passionate for this city, but I'm not emotional. I'm very pragmatic. So my business, when I look at people's bank statements, I'm never going to be judgy about what they spend on. But one of my really good friends, he would go to Starbucks 3 times a day.
And that was
it's not you. And it's not you.
No, it's not me. But that was the first story you told me when I went over for a loan about you just said, I'm going to look through this. I'm going to look at, and there might be some Starbucks in there. And there was, but go ahead.
And it's literally that, hey, I can't save money, but if you can go to the coffee shop 3 times a day, 5 days a week, you clearly can save money. Your emotion is taking you to the coffee shop, but you could brew it at home with a pot. I do.
Yeah, and then you even brought that up with your water bottle that you brought in today that
filled up at home.
Has a brand name on it. We won't mention it, but you filled it up at home.
Yep. Just because, again, look, I know some of the things we do make us feel good, but the job of city council is not to make people feel good. It's to make common sense, logical decisions for us and for the future. I want my kids and my grandkids to build their careers here, start families here, and I want Yuma to give everybody the same opportunities I've had.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a couple minutes left. I just want to ask you, you're a write-in candidate. Why should people write you in for city council?
Partly for that is I'm the guy who's not in anybody's pocket. I'm pragmatic about my decisions, and you can get to me. And I've had a lot of people say, how do I get a hold of you? Literally, my phone number's been on the internet for 25 years straight. You can look up my name, you find my cell number, and the same as at the candidate forum. I had 2 people ask me questions. Okay, I don't know the answer to your specific problem, and it's super important to you. I will go find that information out, and I've left messages for both of those gentlemen, and here's what I found out. I have no problem doing that because I'd like to know also. One of them was a zoning question. Really, both of them had the flavor of a zoning issue. But call me, ask me. There's no question you're going to ask that's going to be hurtful to me, but it's going to be, I'm going to come up with the data and I will answer you back.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to mention? You mentioned the candidate forum. The answers had to be short, but and we are short on time, wrapping up on time. But anything else you wanted to mention? I'm a write-in candidate. I need everybody to check the blank box and write Derek Egeberg in there, and I would appreciate your vote. And if you have any questions of me of who I am, please find my cell number and give me a call.
And I'll just say, it was a candidate forum. I was meeting with Bobby McClendon, Leslie's husband, who's on council. And thank you, Bobby, for letting me use your lights. I really appreciate Bobby. Love him. Longtime DJ. But anyway, I was talking to him about this, and he had mentioned your name just in conversation. And he said that he was very impressed that when you were asked a question and you didn't know the answer, you didn't try to make one up or try to sound smart. You said, let me go find out and I'll come back. Right. I'll get back to you. And maybe that's like the same thing that happened with like the gentleman that said, OK, find these out for me. You got their numbers and you responded. But he said that sealed the deal for him.
Well, I appreciate that, Bobby. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Victor.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us. Good luck on the campaign trail. And we will be seeing, when's voting day? Or no, when's election night?
Mail-in ballots are already out. Please get your mail-in ballot. July 21st is the actual ballot day, election day. So vote Derek Egeberg, write-in candidate.
All right. And with that, we are timed out. It's time for a break. We'll be back with Loula Stefanakos right after this. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio right here on 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
What's Up Yuma Radio is sponsored in part by Nova Home Loans, serving Yuma County and nearby communities. Nova Home Loans offers residential lending services, including home loans and refinancing. They are also proud supporters of local community efforts and organizations. More information is available at novahomeloansyuma.com.
You are tuned to 94.7 FM KOFA Border Radio. It's a sunny day in Yuma with an afternoon high expected of 97 degrees. Calm winds becoming westerly at 5 miles per hour tonight. Clear skies with a low around 69 degrees. The Native Visions Film Festival in Parker is looking for films highlighting Indigenous stories. The Native Visions Film Festival is accepting film submissions for its annual festival through this Friday, July 3rd. More on this online at KAWC.org.
I use KAWC almost on a daily basis in my car. It's the background for chores around my house. And I go to the website and look for stories that are of interest, and I listen to podcasts. I look to the news on NPR because I'm looking for something beyond the headline or a soundbite or a gotcha moment. I really want news that shows me sort of the multiple dimensions of a story, that seeks information from multiple sources and doesn't tell me how to think. It just presents the issues, and I really appreciate that. Being a sustaining member of a service like KAWC takes the mystery out of it for me. So I know that I am supporting every month. I also know that I don't have to remember to sit down and write a check at the end of the year or a budget for a check at the end of the year, right? It's kind of coming out of my account every month, and that makes me feel a little bit like I'm part of the team. I'm Lori Stoft from Arizona Western College, and I'm a proud supporter of KAWC Yuma.
For over 55 years, Border Radio KOFA has been a voice for music and culture in the region. We play indie, soul, funk, world beats, and more, plus local stories and live sessions. Tune in live at 94.7 FM, on demand at borderradioaz.org or on the KOFA app and discover your next favorite song.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to What's Up Yuma Radio. We are here now joined by
Loula Stefanakos, the owner of Wheezy's and Swanky Place.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. But first of all, I love your shirt.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, Beastie Boys, as a young rapper, obviously they were some of my inspiration, so I absolutely love that. But so I've had your sister on. I actually had Dave came in. It's like, didn't we have them on before? I was like, no, there's three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's three of them. But, we like to get to know our guests before we get to what they do. Did you grow up here in Yuma?
Yeah. So I got here when I was really young.
Yeah.
I think we moved in 89 or 90, and I was born in 86. So my dad got the opportunity to open up the eatery out in the foothills. Actually, no, it was Nick's Coffee Mill.
Nick's Coffee Mill.
Yep.
So that's what I was thinking. That's the first one, Nick's Coffee Mill. And you said opportunity. Do you know what that means? Like opportunity? Like he saw something in Yuma, wanted to buy it. And where did you guys come from?
Kingman. Yeah, he had a restaurant up there. And I'm not sure how the whole thing came together, but at one point there were a lot of Greeks in Arizona. And
okay.
They all kind of followed each other and found places and buildings and all of that. So I think he knew some people down here, and then ended up getting Nick's Coffee Mill in town, but then saw the opportunity out in the foothills with the retired community.
Now, you kind of mentioned there was a lot of Greeks. So that's something like when you grew up, did you see that? Did you notice that? You did, because I have a lot of friends that are from Iraq that come over. We have some similar friends, friends in common that come over, and they come in and they help each each other established businesses, and they say, okay, there's an opportunity here, and they just continue to help. And I was like, wow, they come from this to owning a lot of Yuma. Like Norman owns so much property now on 4th Avenue. Was it kind of something similar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And eventually they were up in Laughlin, Kingman, here, the old building next to the Ailment downtown. That was the copper miner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was John the Greek.
Yeah, I remember John the Greek. Yeah, I used to love that place. That was my favorite place to get breakfast. So I would see John every Sunday over there. Okay, and your dad got the opportunity. Nick's, how long was Nick's around here in Yuma?
I think it ended up closing up in the 90s. And then the eatery made it the longest. And my sister finally sold it off a few years ago. Which it's a hard area and it was seasonal. So it was just one of those things where it was like, time to go.
So when it first started, though, the eatery, do you remember how old you are when that happened?
Yeah,
or how old you were?
I think I was 4 or 5.
4 or 5, the eatery comes into place. He sees the opportunity to kind of serve a community out there?
Yeah, well, I think he saw something because it was only seasonal. The restaurant only stayed open 9 months out of the year.
Okay.
So it was definitely geared towards the snowbirds.
The snowbirds, when they come out, give them something to do. Was it popular and successful?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember as a kid just walking around the building and seeing a line wrapped around it because it was at that point, there wasn't even anything really on Fortuna or Foothills Boulevard. It was the only place to eat out there, and it did very well.
So, okay, then you have that day. You grew up in the restaurant. What's it like growing up in the restaurant life? I've talked to your sister Maria about it, but what was it like for you, Loula?
Well, I think you just become accustomed to it. Like, that Christmas isn't going to be till 10 o'clock at night. You know that holidays are untouchable, so those things are just kind of bred into you. And we were used to it growing up.
Yeah. And so you're saying that they're untouchable because you know that
we're going to have to work them.
So people are going to be working. Yeah. There's going to be work that's going to be done.
Yeah.
And were you a young girl helping out in the kitchen and doing anything?
Yeah.
Like the thing when you get the silverware and put it around the napkin or napkin around the silverware, like stuff like that? What were you doing?
Okay. So the biggest form of punishment was peeling the eggs. And they used to come in the big trash can. Like we would fill one of those up. And that would be, our fingers would be raw. Wow. And then another one was buttering toast for 25 cents for each server.
Okay. So you and that you said was punishment.
Yeah.
Or like there was something tedious about it or
it was that was just the least favorite one.
Least favorite? What was your favorite thing if you had one?
Just hanging out with my dad and my family. I felt like that was the one time that we were all able to be together and, finally have his attention because he was a very busy man. He was very dedicated to that building. And then he ended up opening up Mi Fajita down the street. But eventually that whole thing went away through partnership. But
so he had a partner at Mi Fajita. Okay, I remember that place.
Steve the Greek.
Yeah. So there was another Greek. Opened up a fajita place. That was there for a while. And then you were here, but then you left for a little bit?
Yeah. My parents split up in sometime in the 90s. I think it was around 99. And I ended up going to high school in Flagstaff. And then after that, I left for Colorado for about over 10 years.
10 years in Colorado. What was it like over there?
Amazing. I miss it all the time.
You do? Yeah. And then you're in Colorado. What were you doing in Colorado?
I was running bars in Colorado. And,
Is it because of your experience in the restaurant that you were able to?
All I've ever known.
Restaurant. And then you're able to kind of transfer that over to the bar. It's like, was it a big difference or a lot of the things that you knew were still applicable?
I feel like I still learn something new every day in this industry because it's always ever growing and changing. But a lot of my knowledge just came from always being in it,
So how was it running the bars over there? Were you pretty successful at it? Yes, you didn't hesitate to answer that at all.
Yeah.
So what does it take to be successful in it?
I think you just really, energy. You need a lot of energy for this industry because you can't ever be off. You always have to be on. My phone goes consistently. I think a good support as well.
You need support and you need energy.
Yes.
So maybe sometimes Red Bulls and somebody to answer the phone when you're like,
Yeah, and a good team. You got to surround yourself with really good people and people that you trust, because it's easy to take in this industry. So you definitely need a very trustworthy group.
Yes.
And so you're over there in Colorado, and then your sisters here, Eleni and Maria, say, we're going to open up another location. Is that how it happened?
Yeah, I actually said no at first because I'm like, I'm not going back to Yuma.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not leaving Colorado. I didn't want to go. And then I finally just woke up one day and I'm like, I talked to some people and they were like, you should do this, like it's going to be a great opportunity. Instead of doing it for others, go do it for yourself.
So and now this was like when it was just in talks, they called you and said, if we do this, what was it? Can you run it? Can you come over here? Can we?
Partnership. And then opening it up. And I did not think, I literally packed my truck. I left my house, my dog, everything. I just packed everything up, quit my job and drove here.
Wow. I guess was it way before its opening? Were you part of the construction crew? You're out there
yeah,
saying,
I was trying to design the back of the bar via text.
Oh, okay.
What is that? FaceTime.
FaceTime, yeah. You're FaceTiming. You're like, it needs to be like this to be able to run smoothly.
We need a cooler here, an ice well here, So it was definitely interesting. I still have some of the schematics that I had drawn up in Colorado because my sister was very adamant about taking the horseshoe bar out and then running the back bar because how Wheezy's before, when it was whatever was there before it, I can't remember. There was the horseshoe, but she took it out and really wanted that whole back area open so that we could add more tables. And I think it made it what it is.
Yeah, it did. It definitely brings the vibe. Did you have something? Or?
No, I was just going to say, I've been to Wheezy's and we were talking off air about, the 49ers group and Johnny doing Monday Night Football. So good times there.
Yeah.
So, and I just have to say, how it happened. Originally, I met your sister Maria and I talked to her. I was like, hey, I do social media. I do stuff like this. And Maria's like, do it. You got to call Loula though. But I would say this on air. Loula rejected me the first time around.
Sure did.
She said, she said, nope, not going to do it.
Okay.
But it's good though. I love somebody that's direct and honest, but I don't give up. Do I?
No. And I am so thankful every day that I finally gave you the big why.
Yeah. And then we ended up partnering on a lot of stuff. And the one thing I loved about it was you were always creative. You would always call me. You're like, okay, we're going to try this.
Yeah.
We're going to give this a shot.
I feel like that's how all of the crazy ideas that have come up, I'm like, well, this could go one of two ways.
Yeah, one of two ways.
We're either going to be loved or hated here. So, and most of the time, everything has been really successful.
Yeah, it seems like it, right?
Yeah.
You'd call me, and sometimes it's like I am the type of person. If somebody gives me a challenge, that's what it's like. It turns me on, right?
Accepted.
It's like okay, cool. How am I going to make this work? Sometimes I would look at my phone. And it's like, oh, it's Loula. Here we go.
Yeah. What are we going to do today?
What's going to happen? But one of the things we did do from the former radio station, like you said, was Monday Night Football.
Yeah, which we love. It is not only do our customers love it, but it's good. The staff loves it. It's good for the community. I feel like it gets businesses out there because you do giveaways all night. And it kind of brings us all together as a community. I think football does that anyways, but the way that you do it specifically is it's always a blessing.
Yeah, and then I just want to mention that during COVID, when that time that we've referred to it now as COVID, it was a very unsettling time. Everybody was kind of unsure of what's going on. Scary. How are we going to get through this? Again, so I look at it like anytime there's chaos, there's opportunity, right? That's like the clay that you get to play with now, and how do we build this? And one of the things that I got a call, and I think it was Maria's idea because she looked into her storage closet, and that was when the great toilet paper shortage.
Yes, that was Maria.
happened, and she was like, okay, we're going to give out a roll of toilet paper with every to-go order. And do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was there for most of them. It was because I worked. What we did was how we have the garage doors? That was kind of like our window. That's where people, because they weren't allowed in the building.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to come in.
So we had to use that as our drive-through, basically. And we were ordering toilet paper by the jumbo packs. every other day, and they were coming in like 300 to 400 per pack. So we were part of the problem.
A little bit. That's why the shelves were empty at your local store.
Yeah, we destroyed it. So,
But it was like, so you gave it to me. You said, okay, now go advertise this, like make it a thing. And we did, and then it became successful. And then we started noticing, like a place in Phoenix started to do it. Like once we're getting the press release going, we're going to get some stuff around it. And it's like, wait a minute, this place in Phoenix has started to copy what we were doing.
Mm-hmm. I felt like people started picking up on it. And what we did was we got really proactive during that time, because we didn't want to see, not only did we go into our busiest month, we went into our slowest month ever, because we had to shut the doors down. And how do you explain to 60 staff members that you can't give them hours, or they, that's how they decide, that's how they feed their families.
And you, like, one thing I loved about work, you treated them as family. It was not only that, yes, they have to feed their family, but their family, how do we keep them in here? How do we keep it going? Yeah. And then one of the things, you want to talk about the lunches.
Yeah, so it came up that the schools were getting extremely overwhelmed. Our old kitchen manager, Pete, he's amazing. He was like, the schools are overwhelmed. And at that point, Maria just shut the eatery down altogether, because all of her clientele ended up leaving, correct? Mm-hmm. So we ended up getting all of her supplies from the eatery, and we're kind of overwhelmed and needed to get rid of all this food. So he was like, why don't we just do free kids' lunches? And we were only going to do it until like all the supplies ran out. But then we started getting so much help from the community. Like the boys down the street would do Pizza Fridays for us, and they'd donate pizzas. We would have people coming in from California going out to the river that would just drop off piles of supplies.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly Coogan. And but yeah, I was like, it just ended up catching on. And then we were even feeding people that I know didn't have kids, that couldn't afford to eat during that time or lost things. So we just kind of opened up the doors, and it was nothing crazy. I mean, some days it'd be mac and cheese or PB&J, but it was able to offer them something. Yeah. Because a lot of the times people lost their jobs during that time, and they couldn't afford to drive to town, so it was easier to just pull up at Wheezy's. But we were doing about 120 lunches a day.
120 lunches a day. And it became a thing, I remember, where the kids would go up, they would get that little paper bag, and they were taking pictures, and the people were out there really supporting. And like, how did it feel when the boys said, okay, we're going to do this Pizza Fridays and join with you?
It was just awesome. Like, it just felt like everybody was coming together for the same thing, just to make sure we all survived, you know? And it just felt good. I think when you get community together, it always feels that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you say that it takes to be a successful, to run a bar, to run, you mentioned about having the support, but actually when you're there, like, what does it take to be successful?
Always creating. I feel like that in this industry, like, you are always going to have to be coming up with the next new thing. And like, which we saw with the swimsuit contest this last weekend, it's like, we haven't seen any, that's another one of those crazy ideas where I was like, Jonathan?
Don't worry, he got bodied in the comments on his Facebook page when he posted about that. So, but it turned out to be, a successful event for your business.
Again, it was like, I looked at it, it's like, Lula's calling. Okay, what are we into today? And I have never said no. Have I ever said no?
No, and that's why I'm so thankful for you, is that you're always like, you know what? We can do this.
Yeah, we could do it. We can always figure it out.
I think that's why I love this partnership so much, is because you always are just, you've never told me no.
No, I never. It's like, because it's like, again, it's exciting. And one thing I learned in business is like, you figure it out. You can figure it out. Like, I could do anything. I'm delusional like that. It's like anything that's put before me, I could figure it out. But now you're at a swanky place, right? Now, how's it like over there? What's it like where you're kind of away from the food part of it now?
I love it. You know what? I don't think people realize I haven't done bar in so long that it was so nice. There's
a little bit of a break for you.
It's crazy. It's easy. Like, it's not easy. It's hard, of course. But not having to worry about a kitchen or a dishwasher or cooks, or, you know what I mean? It's just a huge change.
Or cooks. No, I'm just kidding.
I agree.
I know a lot of cooks. Cooks could be food costs. Absolutely.
And after COVID, food prices, everybody's seen it. Gas goes up, food goes up. The economy, we're trying to get things figured out, but only having to deal with alcohol, and then having a smaller staff and our regulars are amazing. Our staff's amazing. The team's good. It feels good.
And then you had to move from the foothills, right, over to be closer.
Yeah. I was like, this whole thing has adjusted all my hours. So on the weekends, I don't get out of there till 3 sometimes. 3 a.m.
That's crazy.
And at Wheezy's, we're closed by 11, so I didn't have to work those crazy night hours. So it's been driving home at 3 a.m. all the way out to the foothills was scaring me. I saw many wrecks. I was out there when people were drinking on the road. It just wasn't safe. I didn't feel safe. And plus, I was having to drive back and forth 3 to 4 times a day. So I just sold my house and got a quick apartment. But I actually get the keys to the new place tomorrow.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's very cool. And then this is a partnership with your sister Maria and then 2 others, right?
Nabil and Miguel, and they're amazing.
And they're part of like the real estate and
realty agency.
Yeah.
Kind of my neighbors down the street.
Are they your neighbors?
Oh.
And Nabil helped us buy our first home in Somerton.
That's amazing.
So it's a small community. So
yeah, and she's so good at what she does. And Miguel, he's just like a tycoon. He, with his business, they're amazing. They're very smart. They're very sound people. It's just it's very nice. And then I have my sister who's safe,
Absolutely. Well, hey, we are running out of time. It's the last final episode here at KOFA Border Radio. I appreciate you taking the last minute to come in and share those memories with me that we had over at Wheezy's.
Yeah, it's been 10 years. It's been good.
It's been good, and hopefully we'll do some more stuff in the future.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, I want to mention, we were talking off air. You mentioned you're showing the Mexico soccer game tonight.
Yeah, shout out at Swanky's. We're going to be doing a watch party. We have DJ KM7 coming in. We have Johnny from Taco Junkies. He's going to be out front with
Shout out to Johnny.
Yeah.
Was he there last night too?
Johnny?
Oh yeah, he came in last night. He just pulled up and started selling tacos. I love him.
Oh, because I was like, I don't think he was on the schedule, but then I saw he was on. Okay. I guess Johnny's back. He was in LA last I know.
He's crazy. He's everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But you're excited about the game?
I am. It's going to be great. Get there early. Get your seats, and I'm pretty sure KAWC is going to be there giving away some swag too. So we'll have shirts and koozies and all that fun stuff.
Right.
It'll be a good night.
Yeah, it's always fun. Well, thank you so much for being with us. It's time for a break, and we'll be back with our very own Dave Reik to close out the show today. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio right here on 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
What's Up Yuma Radio is sponsored by Citrine Law LLC, a locally owned Yuma law firm where clients work directly with a local legal team. Citrine Law practices criminal defense, DUI defense, and personal injury law throughout Yuma County. Information is at citrinelaw.com.
Low humidity and light breezes as we fall below normal temperatures in Yuma, Parker, and Quartzsite today. Afternoon highs should near 98 degrees. Winds are mostly southwesterly at 5 miles per hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 69 degrees.
Today's day sponsor is Lou Gum in honor of Dave Reik's retirement. Lou has known Dave since 1986 and says, Dave is calm in a crisis almost 95% of the time. Dave was my boss for half of his 40-year career. He was a smart mentor, an adaptable leader, and outside of work, my family. Congratulations on a remarkable career, Dave.
I'm Mike Suba, and I'm a big supporter of KAWC. You're getting a great source of information about our community, about the people that are working and living here, and you start going, you know what, this is really a valued service. And that's the great thing, is you've got a partnership here. And I'm a big believer in partnerships because the one thing I realized early on in life, I can maybe do a lot of stuff on a very limited basis, but when I start partnering up, it's amazing what we can do when we pool our resources. And so I hope that when people are listening to the station, enjoying the news broadcasts and the entertainment shows that are being presented, that they realize that you're not only the end user and enjoying what's being broadcast to you, but it can be a partnership too, where you can participate like I've discovered I can do and help get this service, enhance it, and provide even better programming. I'm Mike Suba, and I support KAWC.
More tranquil weather conditions and a slow warming trend will arrive later this week. But for today, temperatures are just below normal. In Quartzsite, Parker, and Yuma, afternoon highs should reach just below 99 degrees. Winds out of the west-southwest at 5 miles per hour tonight. Skies are clear with a low around 69 degrees.
This is folk singer Michael Jonathan. Join us on Wood Songs this week. We're celebrating the music of the front porch. From New York City, the Ebony Hillbillies, an amazing roots music band, and an award-winning blues duo, Chamber Delorier. All of this and more on this week's broadcast of the Wood Songs Old Time Radio Hour.
This evening at 7 p.m. on KOFA Border Radio 94.7 FM.
Bopping to the new beats heard around the world, or relaxing to the tunes of Memory Lane. We are your non-commercial source of music. Run by volunteer hosts, this is KOFA Border Radio 94.7 FM, 1320 AM, on the KOFA app, or at borderradioaz.org.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to What's Up, Yuma Radio. Who are we joined with now, Victor?
Our still general manager, Dave Reik.
No, I don't know. I don't know if it's still or if he's a part-time employee. Dave Reik.
That's right, guys. I'm technically retired as of Friday, but since we haven't found a replacement for me, I'm still kind of filling in, coming in off the bench every now and then and trying to help the whole team here keep this non-commercial public radio station on the air, keep it going, serving the community.
So now you're here. They haven't found somebody yet. Like, you're irreplaceable, in my opinion, right? Like, how do they do that, right? Those that have been tasked with such a daring challenge. But are you still kind of taking on that role, or you're kind of filling in by doing some radio
we're doing
programs?
Is we've kind of set up an interim general manager situation, and I'm going to be just advising in that capacity, helping out. And the big thing is taking 20 years of my experience and somehow grafting it out of my brain and onto other people.
Wouldn't it be cool if it was like the Matrix and stuff like that, where you could just
we need Spock to come in.
Or Spock,
he can do a mind meld and something.
And then you could just download everything that is in your head, because you've been in radio for how long, Dave?
I started in 1985, so that'd be like 41 years ago.
41 years ago.
Yeah.
And what drew you to radio initially?
Well, a buddy of mine came. I was actually in the middle of the summer. I was a college student, and I worked nights at a Mexican restaurant. And he came and woke me up one morning and says, "You should come and follow me today to check out this radio thing." So I got up and I just basically shadowed him for a day, and it was fantastic. He got a chance to interview the head of Pinnacle West Corporation, which is the company
APS, right?
that owns APS. We got to do that interview, and then we took that tape recording on a cassette back to the studio. We dubbed it, copied it onto a reel-to-reel, used a razor blade and tape to literally cut and paste it together, and put together a news report that aired that same evening. And it was just, it melded together. I was in speech and debate. I've always studied and been intrigued by public policy and law and things like that. And so it melded that idea of public policy and government and industry with getting to play with all this great equipment in a technology aspect, which I also loved. And then we were actually creating a finished product, a news report.
So your love for speech and debate, like you're able to now magnify it, right? Because that's what radio is. It's a magnifier. It's amplifier, I should say. Sorry, amplifier. And you're able to do that. Is that what kind of sparked that in you? Like, wait a minute. And then also what we could do matters.
Well, it was that was part of it, because in speech and debate, you're doing it. You go to a tournament and you compete against other schools. You're in a classroom competing against other college students, and there's a judge there, and it's all simulated. When you're doing it on radio with an actual guy who's running the most expensive company in Arizona and who's talking about building nuclear power plants in Arizona. And this is stuff that really impacts people's lives for real. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the real deal. And that was incredibly intriguing to me. And so, that I think is what got me hooked on exploring this as an option. And the setup they had at KNAU and at Northern Arizona University, they had a half-hour show called Midday Magazine that was completely run by the students.
Okay.
And it was a 30-minute show. We would do a newscast at the top, which would be stuff right off the Associated Press wire. We'd rip it and write it all together. And then we'd do interviews. We'd do tape segments from other producers. We'd piece it all together to make a 30-minute show. And it was very exciting. And it was hands-on, and it was the real deal.
And you're saying piece it together. Are you still cutting tape at that point? Is that?
It was still tape, yeah. Or in the case of the Associated Press, so we had a teletype machine under the stairwell in the studio, and we'd rip that off, and so you'd see a story about the Arizona legislature passed a law today, blah, blah, blah. There was a bank robbery in Seligman, and then you would take those, and I would literally take a piece of tape and tape them all together so I could put together my 2-minute newscast.
Yeah, and
because we weren't using any computers.
So there's no computers at this time.
No computers at all. It was all.
Everything's analog and typewriters
and pencils and Scotch tape.
Is now that thing? What was it called that you said you got it? Is that like
it's
the
a
news
teletype
wire
machine?
Teletype.
Yeah.
So would it type out the story?
Yeah, it looks like it would look like a typewriter, but the paper would be on a spool, and the paper would just come up, and the Associated Press used a satellite to feed the data, and it would just sit there and type all day long. Stories from around the world. You had to subscribe to different. You said we mostly want Arizona stories, but we also want state of Arizona. We want Northern Arizona stories, and then we'd get occasional world stories.
Gotcha.
As well.
You subscribe to something, and then as they come on, because I've talked to other disc jockeys in the day, they would say rip it off they'd go rip off the news or something. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but they would say it would come on this machine, it'd print out, and they would go and they would read it or something.
Exactly.
Or some of them would make it like in their own voice, kind of tell it like
they
the
do that a lot.
synopsis of it.
A lot of the old black and white movies, you'll see stuff like that. There's a really great movie, My Girl Friday, I think it's called. I think Rosalind Russell and Cary Grant, all about a newsroom and stuff, and they would show that they had that machine in the corner. And about every 45 minutes, they'd send you a new weather forecast, and so you go grab the weather and stuff like that.
And you were in Flagstaff for most of your career, correct?
For the first couple of decades, yeah.
And what was your favorite part about being in Flagstaff and being able to cover so many great events?
Well, Flagstaff is a fantastic town, and that was the first place I lived where you actually get 4 seasons in a year, which is really cool. But I especially love covering the Grand Canyon and the environmental issues involving the Colorado River and the Native American issues up there. At that time, the Navajo Hopi relocation issue was a big issue, and then also the proposal to drill for uranium at the Grand Canyon, which was going to impact the tribes up there, especially the Havasupai and the Wallapai. And those stories were really big. And I got involved with a group that was launching in the 90s called National Native News out of Alaska. They created a daily newscast. We still run it on KAWC, daily 5-minute newscast. I contributed a lot of stories to that and a lot of different projects. I did stories for NPR. I occasionally got asked to send material to the BBC.
And so it sounds like everything, again, you're doing something that matters.
It feels like it, yeah. I think it is important. I believe that media, especially news and information, is critical for people to make smart decisions when they go to the voting booth or when they're making choices about who to support. Having detailed information that's accurate, I think that's really critical.
And now, did you retire from there?
Technically, I did.
That was your first place? Okay, that's what I wanted to get to.
So I technically retired from NAU when I made the move here.
Okay, and then you came over here, and have you retired from here before? Like you said, this is your third time, though. Yeah. How does that happen? How do we get to 3?
Well, there is a program in Arizona where sometimes if you're on the state, working for the state, you can retire, take a year not working for the state, and then come back and work again. Mm-hmm. And so I did that several years ago. It was before the pandemic or after it. It was right around then.
Yeah, and then you retired on Friday.
And then I came back, and then they came up with the idea of building this new building and moving our studios. Yeah. And I'd never done that in my career, and I was like, oh, we got to do that.
You got to be there. You got to do it.
Got to be part of it. And as you can tell, that was just has been a fantastic change.
And then Friday happens, you retire, and then you're here today on a Tuesday as a part-time employee consultant.
I only came in today because I wanted to have a chance to say thanks to you for this last year. It's been a real learning experience for us. I think we brought a lot of, as we discussed when we were kind of planning this program, that a lot of people who normally wouldn't be involved with the public radio station have come in to be part of the show, which has been, I think, fantastic. I think we've gotten some new listeners, and that's been really good. And I think we're going to take those lessons forward when Alexandra Rangel and Victor and Carmen Mendoza and Cisco Stargazers start to create a new program, which we should launch in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. And you're looking like you have something. Victor.
Yeah, I have some notes, so I'm going to say it, and then we'll let you close the show, Johnny. I want to thank you, Johnny, for, as Dave said, bringing people on this show, on this station. You brought on people who we don't hear enough from on public radio. You brought on artists, small business owners, entrepreneurs, and entertainers. And I want to thank everyone who's been a guest. Everyone I heard from said they had fun on our show. And so why is that? Because there's only one Johnny Porter.
Oh, thank you, man.
And you have a lot of friends in this community. You have a lot of fans, so don't forget that. I also want to thank your other co-host, the OG Veronica Ronnie Baumgartner. Did anyone else, that's co-hosted? As for you, Johnny, you're not going anywhere out of Yuma. You're going to continue promoting and hosting events here with What's Up Yuma. And so I'll see you at the next event. But I also want to say, I'm out of my touch with my notes, but I want to thank you for having me as your last co-host on this station. As our listeners and viewers know, I'm a reporter on the KAWC 88.9 FM side. I do serious news most days. And on this show, I got to show my personality. So thank you.
Yeah, which is great. Like I feel like I got to. We became friends beyond this. Like we hang out. Like we're going to do something this weekend, probably most likely.
4th of July.
Yeah. So I appreciate you taking on that role and helping me so much with it. It means a lot to me. Right. And obviously, Dave, I walked into his office because I met him and Lou at a say the word.
Siendo primero.
Yeah, event over at Prison Hill. And Troy Love said, hey, go pitch your show to the college. And I was like, you know what? I do have Lou Gumm's number. So I hit him up and ended up over here. And I want to thank you for taking the risk of this show, right? The risk and say, let's do it. I like to make things happen. And it's grown as it's happened, right? Mm-hmm. Thanks Cecilia. We have Cecilia over here. Before I was working the cameras and everything. And it was a half an hour show. But definitely, and everybody, Ronnie and Carmen would help fill in. Veronica Shore would help fill in. She was great. Let's see, who else did we have on there? Emily came in.
I wrote it down. Emily, Mandy, Nicole, Stephanie.
Stephanie, all of them. Hey, do you want to come in and help? They're like, sure. What are we doing? And I was like, just get here and it'll be all right.
Yeah.
All of the great guests that I was able to have here. The one rule was you can't promote, and he told it to a promoter. And we know anything about last thing with Loula, it's okay, that's a challenge. How do I do that? How do I figure that out? All I've done is promote. And then that's why I came up with the idea, or not just that, but I'm generally curious about people, but it's okay, let's just find out about them. Let's just talk to them about them, who they are, what makes them tick. And then we could say they also own a business or they're running for office or whatever. And we kind of keep that to the end. So
as Dave always said, people weren't supposed to sell anything, but we were selling Yuma.
Yeah. And I love Yuma. And like you said, I'm not going anywhere. I've had opportunities to throughout my life. It's like, come over here, Oregon. That's where my record label that I started ended up moving. And the time it was time to move, I said, no, I don't want to do it. I'm going to stay here. So stay here. Like, who knows? Stay tuned. You'll see what happens. But you could always find me in the What's Up Yuma Instagram and Facebook pages. So
Yeah, and like you said, we always wanted to have a positive show, so we always kept it positive.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else you'd like to say, Dave, when we close up?
Yeah, we're getting ready to celebrate our 56th birthday in a couple weeks, so we're going to be highlighting some of the great news coverage that we've done here at KAWC and KOFA over the next couple of weeks during this time slot. So that'll be a lot of fun, and stay tuned for our big birthday on July 11th.
July 11th. So that's the 56th anniversary, you said?
Yes, we started in 1970, July 11th.
No, awesome. And good luck to you. And finally, when you retire, I guess, when you go over there, I think you're going to Texas or something next to some water and being able to relax. But you deserve it. And I really, really appreciate you, man. I really
Sounds
do.
great.
When I don't just say that, that's like you took a risk and a challenge of this guy that you didn't really know and said, go ahead and do it. And here we are. We did it.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong? Who knows? Who knows? But thank you. Thank you, Talon over there, Anthony, Alex, Carmen. I think I said Carmen already. Who else do we got?
Juan.
Cisco. Yeah, I'm going to miss
Garcia.
Juan Garcia. I'm going to miss Cisco. Ray of sunshine. Every time I see Cisco, always brightens up my day. Well, thank you guys. And with that, we are out.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by Citrine Law, LLC, a Yuma law firm practicing criminal defense, DUI defense, and personal injury law. Information is at citrinelaw.com.
This is Border Radio, KOFA Yuma. We can be heard on a radio at 94.7 FM and 1320 AM.